Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean and you are watching MLS Ireland Does Predictions for week 26. Stay tuned. Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean, and if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm still on 223, so it went up to 224, then it went down to 223, and it kind of goes up and down. I guess just who cares? But again, yeah, hit that subscribe button. It will mean a lot to me if you do, and all that kind of jazz. There was a couple of games on last night and the night before that, and if you did watch my Twitch stream that I put up on YouTube, thank you very much. And if you did like it, bit of hair there, go and basically go over there and follow. I'll put up the thing in the description below. Move my mic a wee bit to make my sound a bit more interesting. But anyway, may as well carry on with the first games because I did quite well last night. So anyway, may as well kick on with the first game, which is Inter Miami against New York Red Bulls. Now this one was quite an interesting one to be predicting because Inter Miami now are playing better. I know, shock, horror. In the last 4, they've actually won them at home, whereas New York Red Bull haven't in the last 4 away from home. So now coming into this one, you would think Inter Miami would have the confidence and all that kind of stuff, even though that I do believe that they won last night against Toronto away from home. That was a 1-0. They beat Columbus Crew at home. That was a 1-0. Then they beat Cincinnati away from home. That was a 1-0. So you can kind of guess what I'm going to predict here. I went for like a 1-0 win to Inter Miami, just for the fact is they're starting to get it. They're not going to start to get their mojo. They have a lot of good players, and this is probably, you would think, they should be doing at this moment. There's like in the last 6 they only had 1 draw, and that was against Orlando. I messed it up again. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win. The next one is Atlanta against DC United. Now, Atlanta, I believe, played the other night there, and I think they won. Yeah, they're doing very well at this moment. In the last 6, they've only lost to 1. That was against Nashville. They beat Cincinnati last night 4-0. And then they beat Orlando and all that kind of stuff. So they're doing very well. Now they're coming up against the DC United team, who I think won last night. Yep, 3-0 against Chicago Fire, but got drew with New York Red Bull, and then beat Philadelphia and all that kind of stuff. So like away from home, they've only had the one win away from home, whereas Atlanta probably a wee bit better form at home at the moment, and their form is kind of showing it. Like at the start of the season, they were dreadful. I think they only won 1 game in 14 games, perhaps. Then they really haven't done all that bad now in the last 6. So it looks like they're gaining momentum. And now where are they in the league? Do you not think they're 13th in the league, overall league? So they may just get it into the, where are they in the thing? 7th. Yeah, they may get into the playoffs. So their new manager seems to be doing quite well. So they're coming up against the DC United team, where I do think they may just actually nick this one. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win. Atlanta now finally scoring goals. They're just finally finding their feet. They're not really conceding. They're not really conceding all that much as in the last 2 games against Cincinnati and Orlando. Basically scored 4, 5, 6, 7 goals. So that's pretty impressive. So yeah, they're finally scoring goals, and they already beat DC United away from home 2-1 already. So I'm going to go for another 2-1 win. The next one is New England against Columbus Crew. Now this is basically top against team or nearly bottom, 18th. So yeah, they're getting there. So New England are a far good team, far too good for this. So in the last 4 at home, they've won those 4, whereas Columbus Crew haven't, and they're conceding. Columbus Crew are not many goals that they're conceding, to be fair, away from home. They won last night, 2 nights ago, against New York Red Bull, and then they got beaten by Inter Orlando. And then they won at home against Cincinnati, but got beat by Cincinnati. So every game is basically they've lost by 1 goal. But I think this could be changing. I did think like a 3-0 because New England's a very good team. Columbus Crew are not very conceding a lot, but part of my mind thinks a 2-0. I know they're not going to be winning this game, so I'll keep it with 3-0. Be adventurous. This game's going to be good, perhaps. Not for Columbus Crew, no, they're going to lose. The next one is FC Cincinnati against New York Red Bulls. New York City FC. Sorry, or I said Red Bulls. So yeah, Cincinnati away, at home, coming up against the New York team who are better in. I'm going to say better, not better away from home, but better in New York Arena. But saying it, Cincinnati won their last home game. Who was that against? Toronto. 2-0. Those are pretty impressive. Then again, it was Toronto. But anyway, I think I actually predicted Cincinnati to be winning that game too. Anyway, they're coming against the New York City FC team who are far better, far superior. But away from home, they're not all that great. But they're coming up against the Cincinnati team who are just not as good at home at the moment. So I went for like a 2-0 win to New York City FC just for the fact this is their far better team. Cincinnati are... It's not going to be their year, unfortunately. So the next one is Toronto, who's definitely not their year, against the Nashville team who are second in the East. I believe they're in the East. So they're doing pretty well. Yep, they're second in the Eastern, so that's pretty good. Like they've only lost 2 games all season, which is amazing. Just shows you what not defending, but having a good defense can get you with so little budget. So very well, Nashville. They're coming up against a Toronto team who are bottom with a huge wage package. So you can see where I'm kind of going with this one. I think Nashville are going to win this one 1-0. I think Toronto are just not that good at the moment, as Nashville are capable of winning these games, but not by much. Even though in the last few games now they're actually been scoring quite a lot of goals. But they beat Montreal by 1-0, and then they beat New York City at home with 3-1. Then away from home they beat Atlanta 2-0. So they're scoring goals and they're getting in there. So yeah, I'll keep that one a 1-0 to Nashville. The next one is Austin against San Jose Earthquakes. Get the wee hairs annoy me. Better. The next, right, so Austin at home, not all that great. They've only won 1 in the last 4, and whereas San Jose actually haven't lost a game away from home in the last 4. So Austin, where did they do? I think they did okay over the weekend. Austin, no, they got beat. They got beat by LAFC 2-1 at home, and now they're going to be at home against San Jose Earthquakes, who are not that great away from home, but they're in a better shape. So I went for a 1-1 draw for Austin to at least get a good result in this, but I'll stick with the 1-1 draw. The two teams are kind of evenly matched. There's a reason why they're down there. Austin are at home, they have a good fan base, but I think this one's going to be quite a draw. The next one is Minnesota against LA Galaxy. Now, LA Galaxy drew last night 1-1. They drew their last 3 games. They drew 1-1 against Houston, then they drew 1-1 away from home at Colorado, and then drew 3-3 at LAFC. Then they got beat by the 2 teams in San Jose and Colorado. And then they beat Minnesota 1-0 the time before that, on August 14th. So now they're coming up against Minnesota again. I'm going to stick with the same kind of thing here. I'm going to go for another 1-0 draw. Minnesota are a very good team. They are at home again, but I think LA Galaxy is kind of in this wee funk at the moment. They have Hernandez back, but I think this one's just going to be a very defensive Minnesota team. So yeah, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to keep it 1-1. The next one is Houston Dynamo against FC Dallas, another Texas derby. I think there's going to be 8 of them this year. There've been quite a lot of them, probably more than 8. Anyway, yep. So that one's actually going to be an interesting. FC Dallas probably the better team, not on paper. I think Houston Dynamo are better at home. Sorry, and compared to FC Dallas, better compared to Dallas away from home. English, brilliant at it. The next, so yep. The two teams are scoring a lot of goals, but I'll go for a 1-0 win to FC Dallas. They're just quite a young team. As I said, Houston there, they drew with LA Galaxy, and then they beat Austin. So then they got beaten by Portland, Minnesota, and then drew with Dallas. So I'll go for a Dallas 1-0 win. Again, yeah, so I'll stick with the 1-0. The next one is Real Salt Lake against Seattle Sounders. Now, Seattle Sounders, who I suspected should have been winning or at least fighting for the Supporters' Shield, are kind of lost their way during the international break. They got beaten by Portland, but they beat Minnesota, Columbus Crew, Dallas, and Portland, and all that kind of stuff 6-2. and then could beat by Portland at home. Makes sense, doesn't it, MLS? And now they're coming up against the Real Salt Lake team, who have, in the last 4, have won their home games in their last 4. Seattle won their last 4 away games. So coming into this one, hard to come up against, but I think Seattle Sounders should win this one. I will for like a 3-2 win. They just have a better team. Real Salt Lake are kind of up and down at this moment in time. I just don't see them challenging. They will score goals, but I think Seattle Sounders have that team to bring them over the line. So I'll keep it for like a 3-2. The next one is Montreal against Chicago Fire. Now Montreal kind of annoyed me last night when I predicted them to lose against Orlando. Jesus Christ. Yep, 4-2. But I think Nana kind of got getting sent off and them getting put off, like going down to 10 men, kind of didn't really help. So yeah, that's how the things work. So they're coming up against the Chicago Fire team, who you would suspect them to beat 2-1. I know you don't expect them to win 2-1, but I suspect them to win 2-1, and that is my prediction, so shut up. Again, yeah, Montreal, better team. Chicago Fire are where they are for a reason, which is unfortunate. They haven't, I think they've only won the one game away from home, and that was against New York Red Bulls. So Montreal 2-1 win. The next one is Philadelphia against Orlando City. Orlando now will be without Nani. Philadelphia at home, you would suspect them to be having a good go at this one. Their home form isn't all that great. They've kind of won half their games. So, and they lost their last home game, as same as Orlando. They lost their last home away game. So I'm going for like a 2-1 win to Philadelphia. They should win this game with even Orlando with Nani. They should probably win this game. Last season they definitely would have won it. So I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win on that one. So Philadelphia should win that one. I had 2-0, but I'll go for 2-1. The next one is Portland Timbers against LAFC against Los Angeles FC. Sorry, that was Portland Timbers against LAFC. I have no idea what I just said there, but I probably just repeated it. But anyway, Portland Timbers against LAFC. So Portland Timbers at home against a very poor LAFC, even though that they've won their last 3 against Austin, Real Salt Lake and Sporting Kansas City. They are scoring goals, but they're conceding quite a few as well. Portland are starting to show form at the moment. I suppose this is the MLS when they kind of need to start showing form before the playoffs. So I went for like a 2-1 win to Portland. I think they're just a far better team. They're starting to find their momentum. I know LAFC are as well, but on a plastic pitch in Portland, they should really win this one, shouldn't they? 2-1. So yeah, 2-1 win. And now the last one, which is Colorado Rapids against Vancouver. Vancouver they started doing all right there in the last 6 games. They lost their last game against Portland, but they beat Austin, they beat Real Salt Lake, LAFC, and then won away at Austin. So not too bad. Now away from home, these two teams, Colorado have drew 2 and won 2, whereas Vancouver away from home have drew 3 and won their last one there. So coming into this one, I'll go for like a 2-0 win to Colorado, just for the fact is they're a very good team. They're 4 for a reason. And I do think they have a capability of actually getting a good result this season. They may get probably to the semi-finals of the MLS Cup, so that would be interesting because they haven't been really in anywhere really around it for quite a while. So they're 3rd in the Western and they're 4th overall. So congratulations to them. Yep, that is my predictions. I hope you enjoyed them. If you like them, hit that subscribe button, even if you made it this far, which I doubt that you have. But anyway, I hope to see you on the next one. Bye now.